Most of you who watch this video already know that our bodies are made of so-called stardust. So let us look at what else you and I have in common with these stars, as if we are the incarnations of the stars themselves, living and dead. As we first bear in mind that the colors of the stars are more or less identical to the colors of what are called the human auras and chakras that are invisible to most people. We can also see how the 7 chakra colors that are arranged inside our auras are identical to the 7 colors of the stars, as well as in the same sequence of colors. The 7 colors and types of stars correspond in coloring and sequence of the 7 major chakras and auras, more or less, with the 7 layers of our auras corresponding, perhaps not by coincidence, to the 7 atomic layering of the stars. Bear this in mind as you also bear in mind that the living stars are the atomic siblings of other living stars, as well as ourselves. The stars are our siblings, whereas the dead stars are the atomic ancestors of ourselves and the living stars. The stars, living and dead, might be alive and living vicariously through us is what I am getting at here. If that's the case, then this is how it's done. I also need to say that there are a couple of pieces of this color jigsaw puzzle that are missing in this video, because I can't find them on the internet yet, but I am not going to tell you what they are. It is worth noting that the coloring of one of the largest star types, like Class O blue giants, are more or less the same color and in the same sequence as our so-called third eye chakra. The similarities in coloring and sequence of the stars in our chakras are exceptionally uncanny. With us also bearing in mind that black holes are dead stars, as we also consider that black holes and stars are souls, if we take some of these book titles at face value. With the life cycle of stars and humans also being identical to each other in an abstract way, as we also bear in mind that the stars are electrically charged due to nuclear reactions inside the star, just like we humans are electrically charged due to electrochemical reactions in our body, just like black holes are electrically charged. As you not forget that black holes are the remains of long dead giant stars. And with these examples of black auras being the only ones I could find on the web falling nicely into place here, and with black holes not necessarily being black but colorful in the invisible light spectrum, just like our auras and chakras. And this brings us to the comparisons between the compatibility of human blood types compared to the various star types. But with us narrowing things down to the 3 largest classes of stars, e.g. the O, B, and A class stars, as compared to the A, B, O blood types and donor-recipient compatibility types, with O negative blood type people being universal donors, with AB positive blood types and their combinations being universal recipients. This is significant comparison-wise. What is especially significant here is how Class O stars, e.g. the ones that become black holes, such as red giant stars that grew from blue giant stars, correspond to the O negative universal blood donor type. Whereas Class A and Class B stars, when coupled together by class, correspond to the AB positive universal recipient blood type. As we consider that ABO blood groups juxtaposed to the OBA star types / groups compared to ABO blood type genetic inheritance patterns and so forth. As we also bear in mind that dying dead Class O stars are the same ones that produce the huge Type 2 supernovas and their massive black holes that respectively explode and spew out most of the stardust that is the raw material for the formation of lesser mass stars, B through M. This means that the huge Class O stars and O positive blood types have a lot in common, to say the least, as the equivalent of blood or even sperm donors to the other types of stars and blood types, respectively, or so it appears. I think you get the gist of what I'm getting at. What is also interesting is that Class 1 supernova explosions transpire in binary star systems with two stars, including a white dwarf star whose gravity pulls more and more material from its neighboring star, as if this neighbor were a blood or sperm donor, to the point where the white dwarf reaches enough nuclear critical mass to explode in a supernova that helps seed the universe with iron and other stardust that our bodies are made of. It is relevant to note here specifically that most of the iron in our blood is the remnants of Type 1 supernova explosions from sufficiently large high-mass stars whose iron cores are pulverized into molecular cloud dust, aka stardust, when they explode and scattered into space. The red color of your blood is the iron in your blood mixed with oxygen, sort of like iron oxide, but not quite, because the oxygen and iron molecules in blood don't quite bind together, or something to that effect. What is especially significant here, however, and I hope you can fathom this, is that iron oxide nanoparticles, as well as other metals, are used as contrasting agents in magnetic resonance imaging bioscanners. This means that the chemical composition of our blood is nearly identical to the chemical composition of iron oxide contrasting agents used in biological imaging equipment, especially MRIs. And although Earth's magnetic Van Allen radiation belts do not produce a magnetic field nearly as strong as an MRI, they fall nicely into place here, as perhaps the equivalent of some kind of MRI rings like these here. I am going to conclude this video by saying that Earth's electromagnetic field is in part caused by its core that is in part made of iron, and iron is inserted in solenoids and other electronic equipment in order to increase its electromagnetic field power. The cores of large stars are also iron, and I'll bet the sun has iron in its core. Iron cores are used for technology, and that is the gist of this video. is that the universe is made of bits and pieces of technology disguised as Mother Nature. And I would bet that the iron in our blood and the rest of our bodies serves as the equivalent of an iron core of some kind, which probably has something to do with the strength of the electromagnetic field produced by our body, including our heart, which is the nexus of the blood circulatory system. If you like this video, give it the thumbs up, share it, subscribe, hit the notification button, and I included a playlist and maybe some links to some other videos.